here to talk to y'all about some Crockpot prime rib roast. Now, just wait a second. Sometimes you can't afford the prime rib. You can use it other things like Boston butt. You can use chuck roast, but I'll tell you there's a difference, and we'll get to that. But right now, I want to update you. I want to update you on something that we've been covering, and that is Donna Adelson's trial that's supposed to happen on June the 3rd. She's asking y'all for a delay in her trial now. And she also tried to get the judge off the case. He dismissed that. He's not going to let her get a new judge. And she's got a hearing tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I don't know what her time is. That's down in Florida, in Tallahassee. So I'd say that's what, 3 o'clock Tennessee time. I don't know what it is for you. But folks, you know, she's liable to get her delay in the trial. And if she does, then it is what it is. I mean, you know, that's the kind of luck OKJ has, right? But how about this, y'all? Why am I here to do Cooking with KJ, huh? The trial of Erin Patterson of Australia for allegedly murdering her in-laws by serving them a lunch laced with death cap mushrooms has started, y'all, in Victoria Court. Now, they don't live stream it. You can't watch it. There is a podcast. If you Google her name, Erin Patterson, and they're keeping up every day with it. But Patterson, 50, faces 3 charges of murder, y'all, and 1 charge of attempted murder relating to a beef Wellington. Y'all remember when OKJ did the beef Wellington? Lunch she served at the house in South Gippsland in 2023. The 15-member jury in the Supreme Court trial was impaneled on Tuesday. Now remember, that's across the lake. So they're kind of a different day than we are. So they've impaneled this, and their jury's a little bit different too. They've got 15-member jury. Patterson has pleaded not guilty to murdering or attempting to murder the relatives of her estranged husband, Simon Patterson. She's accused of murdering Simon's parents, Don and Gail Patterson, her aunt Heather Wilkinson, and attempting to murder Ian Wilkinson, who survived, Simon's uncle and Heather's husband. A court transcript of the jury impanelment released by the court on Tuesday night shows that the evidence in the case is that Simon was also invited to the lunch on July 29th of 2023. Patterson served individual beef Wellington to her lunch guests, 3 of whom died from the death cap mushroom poisoning. Opening submissions in the case are expected to be made on Wednesday, y'all. And that's today for them, right? By Nanette Rogers, the prosecutor, and Patterson's lawyer, Colin Mandy, and the Justice Christopher Beale said in his instructions to the jury that Patterson was no longer accused of attempting to murder her estranged husband. They had charges of attempted murder that was like a year before where he got deathly sick, almost died. They dropped those charges. He told the jury those charges have been discontinued and that they should remove any consideration of those previous charges. The panel is made up of 10 men and 5 women. 3 of them are reserved jurors, with only 12 deciding on a verdict. The verdict must be unanimous. Beale said that if the jurors happened to be watching television news and came across a story about the case, they should change the channel. That's a little bit different, isn't it, y'all? And should similarly ignore it if they came across it in the newspaper or on social media. It's your duty to decide this case only on the basis of that evidence. You must ignore all other considerations, said the judge. You must dismiss all prejudices or sympathies you may have. Your duty is to consider the evidence using your head and not your heart. So, y'all, OKJ said, well, the trial has started and we got a little break in the action. And so I thought, why not, y'all? And I'll apologize if I can't get to many of your comments. I appreciate Fancy Nancy and anyone else that's modding on here to make this a more comfortable situation for everybody, but I'm going to try my best. I've got to do my own phone. I ain't got nobody here to help me. So let me just say hi to Vixtex, Just Me, Norma Guerrera, Cooked Goose in Florida, which is Cooked Goose now. Madonna, hello. You know I can't say your last name. Dora Pinion, Sis, you should have been a detective. And who else? Fancy Nancy, of course, y'all. This is something I think you're going to enjoy. It's my own. I took a recipe, okay? I took a recipe from Sweet Basil is what the recipe, you can look it up online. And I was like, wow, that don't look too hard. And then I got to scrolling down on the reviews of it, and everybody was saying, well, I just spent all this money on this prime rib roast, and it came out dry and all this and that. And I'm like, okay, let me look at this recipe. And then let me think about what I like. What does this old Tennessee girl like? I got the cast iron stomach, y'all. I've got taste buds that could take a dang jalapeno pepper and eat it like a carrot. So you have to really think about what your taste buds are good for you. Look at a recipe. Y'all know this. Y'all probably know this better than me. And really say to yourself, okay, what does this taste like? If it comes down to your spices that we're going to put in there, just take your finger, dab it in there, and give it a moment to taste that spice and say, okay, that's what that tastes like. Let's get another spice and see what it tastes like and see how they kind of blend together or don't blend together. So we're going to see what we can do here. We're going to start out. Now, y'all, this takes it takes a little time. You have to, first you get your prime rib roast or your Boston butt, but we're going to stick with prime rib and then we'll substitute, and I'll explain in a few minutes on that, for a cheaper cut of meat. But you got to take it, and the one I've got, and I'll show it to you, this one right here is about 8 pounds. And I'm going to show y'all very quickly, I hope it shows up, that you got to first take it out of the package and put it in the refrigerator in something open for at least 12 to 24 hours. Leave it in the refrigerator. Then when you get ready to take it out after that, you got to let it sit out for an hour. You got to let it sit out at room temperature for an hour. And then what you'll do is you'll make diagonal cuts. Make sure, and this is really to put your spices in. See where I put the cuts? It's like doing it this way, this way, this way, this way, okay? So anyway, I hope that makes sense to y'all. So you're not going to see my face much because I'm going to get started on this. But I'm not going to really let y'all in on the how much because in terms of what I do, all I can do is like say, this is how I do it, okay? We do know that when you take it out and you make those diagonal cuts, that you've got to start putting the kosher salt and the black pepper all over it, right? Hold on just a minute. I gotta put on my gloves here. Y'all, this is gonna be fun. And we're gonna start off with the kosher salt. It does say 1 to 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. Now, I got an 8 pounder here. I ain't got a 3 to 4 pounder, so I'm going to use more than that. Some of y'all don't like salt. Some can't have salt. I guess you could use salt substitute, but then you get your black cracked pepper. And I just, I get it and I put it all over it. All right, it's all been in there. I had it sitting out here for an hour. I start spreading all that on there. And then what I'll do next is the hard part. The next thing I'll do, and that's just pepper and salt, y'all. That ain't like no big time, I hope y'all can see this. But I'm going to try to do it. Just bear with me. So it's just salt and pepper on the thing, all right? All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my cast iron pan. Now, you could use a regular pan, but you really want flavor, you get you a cast iron skillet, all right? And you put about a cup of olive oil or vegetable oil. Folks, I'm not into health, okay? I'm going to use vegetable oil. That's me, though. I'm I'm just one of those types. I don't look for health most of the time. You know, I want flavor. I want goodness. So I'm going to take my roast here. This is the hard part, y'all. We'll take the roast. But wait a minute. Before I do that, here's the secret, y'all. On the crock pot. I forgot all about this. Here's my crock pot. I've already got it on high. Okay, there's nothing in it. I just made sure that it was already on high. And look at that basic recipe and you're going to be like, well, she did change it, right? I'm going to take 1 cup of beef broth. And I'm going to pour it in there. All right? But not only am I going to pour that in there, I'm also going to put 1 tablespoon of raw local honey. Why am I doing that? I'll tell you why. Honey can contribute to juicier meat in a crock pot primarily when used as part of a marinade or the cooking liquid. So all these people that are bitching and complaining about, well, I paid this much for this meat and I did the basic recipe and it came out dry. Well, they forgot to put some honey in that bad boy. That's what they forgot to do. So you put a tablespoon of honey in there in your beef broth, all right? And you make sure that it's swirled around in there real good because you're going to let this sucker cook for a while. But here's another thing OKJ's going to do. You ready to hear this? Now that I got my beef broth in there, and this is important, y'all. Look at that. Look at that. I got me some good looking onion there. I'm going to place onions, 2 of them in the bottom, 1 on the other side. Where you see what I'm saying? I'm going to sit them in the bottom like that. Right? There you go. Now we'll get to the searing it. And this is where it's going to be hard for OKJ because this sucker's 8 pounds. Woo! It's got to be seared. In other words, the heat's got to be up. All right, y'all. Say a prayer for me, all right? Here we go. I'm just gonna grab that sucker up. There, look at that bad boy. That's salt and peppered. It's got 1 side of fat. It's been cut in diagonals where you can get the salt and pepper down in the slits there. And you're going to start out. This is the important part here, y'all. Now, let me get back to a cheaper cut of meat, all right? If you're going to use pot roast like chuck roast or sirloin tip roast or something, you're not going to even do the searing because you know you put it in that liquid, it's going to fall apart. Boston butt, you do this recipe in terms of spices and stuff like that, then at the end of it all, you can shred that and make sandwiches with it. And I'm going to make sure this bad boy is absolutely going to have what it's going to have. Here we go. Got to turn it. Let me see if I can show y'all. Let me show you the other side there. You see the other side? All right. Y'all, this ain't no damn Paula Deen shit here. This is OK Day. Coming from you from Tennessee. I'm sharing it with you. All right. This is where I have to get my knife and a fork. There's 1 side. Well, I got 2 sides already. Now look at this. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look how good that looks. Y'all, that's just salt and pepper on there. You just wait till we get to the other good stuff. We want to make sure that it develops just a little bit of a crust. You don't want to cook this bad boy through and through. You just want to sear it. Woo, doggy. All right. Again, see what we're doing? Alright. This ain't no damn Dave Ramsey or whatever his name is. Last side, y'all. Oh no, I got one last side to do. Look at this. Now remember, you want this, if you're going to buy this kind of damn expensive stuff right here, you don't want it to go dry, so that honey is important. Mixed in with that marinade, well, it's not a marinade, it's a cooking liquid. Marinade's what you would continue to put over top of it. We're not going to need that. Alright. Now that we've got it, y'all. Watch OKJ drop it on the floor. Alright, y'all. There it is. I'm fixing to lay it on top of the onions. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I laid it on top of the onions, y'all. It's sitting on high right now. But we're not done with it yet. We still have something very special to do with it. You ready? So, if you follow the basic recipe of this, you're going to get some flavor, and maybe you can try it like that. It looks pretty simple. It's got a third cup of butter softened, which I'm going to use a whole stick. I'm going to use a whole stick because I'm an old country girl and I love fat. And I love butter and I love all that. A tablespoon of rosemary freshly chopped. Now, I'm not going to go for rosemary because it's more of a woody taste. I'm going to do something a little bit different, y'all. 8 cloves of garlic. Now, this is where it gets tricky. I'm not going to sit here and mince up some garlic when I have Spice World minced garlic right here. But the thing about it is it says 8 cloves of garlic for what we're going to lay on the top. And remember, the roast has to be fat up in the cooker. Let me make sure I did that. I didn't do that. It's the other way around. Let me turn it over. All right, there we go. All right. But the thing about it is, it says 8 cloves of garlic. Well, a single clove of garlic, when pre-minced, is roughly equivalent to 1 teaspoon or 1/3 of a tablespoon. If it's talking about 8 cloves of garlic, I got to thinking about it. You know, I'm not no math whiz or anything. And then I thought about, well, what's going in this upper thing? Well, I'm going to have some garlic salt in it, so that's going to account for a little bit of it. So I came up, well, okay, I'm looking at this. 3 cloves of minced garlic makes about 1 tablespoon. Plus, I've got the garlic salt. I'm going to make it 3 tablespoons. That's just for me, okay? So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let me get this right here. I'm going to put this stick of butter. It's been softened. You have to have softened butter, y'all. Put your softened butter in there. Put it in there. Make it little pieces so when it does start to blend, it'll be easier on you. And then, what am I going to do? I'm going to put a dab, about a tablespoon, of honey in it. Again, honey is a way to keep the meat juicy. All right? The next thing I'm going to do it's to taste, y'all, but around, I'd say about a teaspoon of garlic salt. Then, even though I've got that bed of onion on the bottom and that beef broth down there that's been mixed with that little tablespoon of honey, I'm going to put a little of this minced onion. This is a culinary onion, but you can use, don't use fresh. Use the kind that's already dried and everything. I'm going to put about, I don't know, about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons, I'm going to stick that in there. Then, because I love salt. That's some salty stuff, but just remember, this is going to slow cook. It's not going to stay salty. The butter that I put in there instead of a third cup, and instead of a third cup, I put a whole stick in there. That's all going to go down to what? To the onions, the broth, the honey, any of these other spices as it cooks. And what's it going to do, y'all? It's going to make a potential gravy or all just gravy for prime rib. This stuff right here, that you can get this separate. You don't have to make a gravy out of this stuff, but I do. And I'm going to make a gravy out of it afterwards. But anyway, I'm going to take a little Montreal steak seasoning, and I'm going to put about a tablespoon of it because it's more coarse, but it's got pepper, and y'all know what Montreal steak seasoning is. Then here's the big kicker, y'all. This is what I love. This is called Brazilian inspired Geico Steakhouse seasoning from Derek Wolf in Spiceology. You can get it online. I'm not trying to plug these people. It's just what I use. And I just want to show y'all what this looks like. Let me show you. This Brazilian stuff. Let me show you like this. You see that? It's got pieces of all kinds of different herbs and spices. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in there. Then, obviously, just like I said I was going to do, I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. 1, 2, 3. All right? You want to use fresh minced garlic. It's probably better, but I'm lazier than hell, so there we go. Now let me show you what it looks like inside there before I blend it up. That's what it looks like. It looks so spicy, doesn't it? Different kinds of spices. Let me get this where you can see it. All right, I'm fixing to... All right, close your ears. Here we go. All right. Get it out. It's going to be like a paste, y'all. And again, the basic recipe is on the bottom of the about of this video. But let me show you what it looks like. You see that? That's what it looks like. Now, I'm going to get me one of these spatulas. And I'm going to, it's almost like a frosting, y'all. It's almost like I wish I could show y'all this. I'll show you once I get it on there. I don't have no one to hold the camera for me, so let me put it on there real quick, and then I'll show you what you do. It's just like icing a cake. It's all you do. And if you don't want to use a whole stick, that's all, hey, that's fine. Follow the recipe exactly the way it is shown on the about. And then, once, my suggestion is do it with a smaller prime rib. Don't do it with an 8-pounder because you don't know if you're going to like it or not. And I can't see how you wouldn't like it because it's going to be fabulous, y'all. Fabuloso. It's going to be so delicious. You're going to slap your mama. It's going to be so good. And I mean that rhetorically, by the way. Let me show you what this looks like. Because it's not going to stay on there as it cooks. It's going to slide down the sides. It's going to go into the broth. Here we go, y'all. There it is. Almost looks like a bun cake, doesn't it? Doesn't it look good? What do y'all think? Where's my lid? Okay. So, then, you put the top on it. And it does tell you with a 6 to 8 pound prime rib boneless that you would cook it for 3 to 5 hours or until desired temperature is reached. medium at 140 degrees, about 3.5 to 4 hours. Now, what I'm going to do, this is an 8-pounder. I've added all this broth and all of this. This is what it looks like, y'all, inside there. I promise you tonight when Wayne gets home, we'll get back together on it and all that. But I'm going to probably let it sit on high for about 5 hours. And then I'm going to check on it one time, and then I'm going to turn it down to low for another 3 hours. Then after that, I'm going to cut it off. It says at the recipe, before you get ready to slice and serve, about 20 minutes beforehand, you put a piece of foil over it just to kind of let it sit. And then, of course, y'all, finally, after it's done, and I'll show it to you tonight, y'all, I'm going to make the gravy. I'm going to make the gravy that, those onions that are sitting on the bottom with the beef broth and the honey and all that. I'm going to add either some cornstarch or a little flour. I'm going to, of course, take it out of the crock pot, put it in a pan. You know how you make regular gravy. If you don't know how to make regular gravy, I'll show you how I do that this evening, because the prime rib roast will be done. So all I'll have to show y'all is how to make the gravy that you would dip your prime rib in, like all just juice. I think you need to do this with us more, says Sugar Magnolia. Well, I'd love to, but I got to be in the mood to do things. What I would like, though, is y'all's comments on what y'all think I might have done wrong, or y'all think maybe, KJ, that was too much garlic, or KJ, that's too much of pepper, or this or that. Maybe you could help me come up with a better tweaked recipe. Again, that was from Sweet Basil. It was a basic recipe. It's right here on the live stream. You can follow that recipe, although I will say that when I read the reviews, a lot of them were saying they were madder than hell because they paid a lot of money for that prime rib and it came out dry. Folks, honey, the beef broth in the bottom, the onion, the extra butter, that will help seal in. Honey seals in the juices of any meat. And you might think, gosh, honey's so sweet and all that. Folks, once honey is cooking and all this and that, it's almost like, you know how you make a pot of chili and it's just too spicy, and you add like a tablespoon of peanut butter in it to tone it down spice-wise? You don't taste the peanut butter in it, and you won't really taste the honey in it. Some would say, well, KJ, why didn't you just, if you want that meat to really be moist and delicious and all that, why not put the honey on it before you sear it? Well, folks, have you ever seared honey before? It does get caramel on it, but it don't taste right. You can't put honey on a prime rib or any cut of meat and sear it and hope that it's going to taste good. You put it on in the cooking broth that's in the bottom. The onions will bring out the flavors in it, along with that butter sitting on top with the fat side up on that prime rib. That butter on top is going to just slowly go down over it and seal it up. And its drippings are going to go into the broth, and it's going to be fabulous. I mean, fabuloso. So I will mix in some blessings from time to time. I can bring on the bacon, dun, 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 fried up in a pan. I never let you forget you're a man, 'cause I'm a woman. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, you had me at butter, says Lena. Yes, the butter. Now, I understand, y'all. Some people can't afford prime rib, and that's okay. Let me tell you something. We've all put chuck roast in a crock pot, and we've got our own recipes for that. I take 2 cans of cream of mushroom, and I put it in the crock pot, and then I add water to each can, and I pour that in there. Then I take a packet of Lipton onion soup mix, and I put it in the crock pot, stick my chuck roast in there. And you know how that goes. It goes to where it falls apart or falls off the bone or whatever. Add your potatoes, your carrots, your onion. Of course, the Lipton onion soup mix has little bits of onion in it, but you want them big chunks of onion in there. And you want lots of pepper too. If you want to eat it like old KJ eats it, you got to have the salt, you got to have the pepper, you got to have the vegetable. Folks, we only live one time in this world. Enjoy. I'm not sitting here trying to promote for you not to eat healthy. Eat healthy every damn day of your life. But by God, take time. Take time to have one unhealthy meal. For God's sake, it's so damn good. Yeehaw, says Lena. Let me see if Just Me says the honey makes it burn. Sugar Magnolia says, I have to do it when it hits me. Yeah. Definitely better than Lorehore's canned chicken green enchiladas, says Mark A. David. Are you being a smart ass, Mark? I love it. Oh, hi, Shema. Hi, Cindy Bullock. Thank you, Norma. Hi, Shellbell. Gravy on everything. Yes. And I'm going to show y'all how to make that gravy later on this evening. Again, y'all, you have to, when you get your cut of meat, okay, if it's not prime rib, it's got to be Boston butt or a sirloin tip roast in order to sear it. But if it's chuck roast or something cheaper meat or whatever, then you don't need to be searing it. You need to just go ahead, put it in the crock pot. You can use the broth, the onions if you want, the spices that we talked about. You could even add the butter on top of that chuck roast as well. It's just not going to end up like a prime rib. A prime rib should be able to be sliced. It might fall apart a little bit, but not much. The chuck roast will. The Boston butt makes a hell of a damn kind of like a shredded meat sandwich. Y'all, it's so damn good. I remember the last Boston butt I did. I ate that meat 3 days in a row for lunch. And you know, that's good for me because I get burnt out on stuff, but I got to where I was craving it. So yeah. Thank you, Just Me. Thank you. Well, thank you, HUD Squad Gaming. Yes, Shema. Just like I was saying, the Boston butt, you can do it that way. You can take a Boston butt and you can sear it. You can sear the, if you've got like a small sirloin tip roast, you can sear it as well. But the chuck roast, don't do that. You might as well just, because it's, see what it is prime rib, sirloin tip roast, Boston. They have the, I don't know, the little things in it that need to, I'm trying to think, it's kind of like the little pieces of fat and all of that in it, the little pieces of muscle things and everything. Well, first of all, honey breaks that down, okay? Some would say, well, KJ, if you can use honey, why not use sugar? No, honey is just, you don't want to use too much honey. You just want to use enough to seal it up after you've seared it. And to do that, you've got two ways of doing that with the honey. You put a tablespoon in the broth in the bottom with the onions, and you also put a tablespoon in with the butter mixture with your spices. And hey, sometimes, like I got that Brazilian spice, all you have to do is get over there to your cabinet where your spices are at and sit down one day and just, I know this sounds silly to y'all, but you want to be a good cook and you want to try different things. You know what tastes good in terms of spice? Take a little bit of your spice, put it on your, and try to see what it tastes like with two spices or 3 spices. And you could do the same for fresh herbs or whatever. You know what's going to be woody, savory, salty, sweet, all of that. You can make up your own coating for your butter there for your prime rib or your Boston butt. You can do all of that and it'll be your own taste to your own taste. Again, some of y'all can't have salt. Maybe you'll use salt substitute, or there's other things that you use in place of it. You could even use some of those saltless, like garlic and herbs that have no salt in them at all. I understand, y'all. I understand that some of y'all are like, damn, I can't eat salt. I love the hell out of it, but I just can't have it. It's bad for my blood pressure, or it's bad for my whatever medical condition, or I can't have this, or I can't have that. There's always a substitute that's going to be good for you. Sheldon Savage says, I can make a mean hot dog. Well, there you go. I love to make open face hot roast beef sandwiches from my pot roast beef leftovers. And doesn't that sound good, y'all? Oh, Sugar Magnolia, I bet you make the killer one. What I do, this is what I do when I just make regular, say I just throw a pot roast on and I use my cream of mushroom and my Lipton onion soup mix and a little water, and then I put potatoes and stuff like that in it. What I do, once it's really falling apart and everything, it's got that gravy and everything, how I serve it is I get the meat, I put it on a separate plate and I kind of shred it a little bit. Then I take my potatoes, my carrots, my onions, and I make kind of like a side dish on my plate. And then I pour the gravy over, well, first I put either a roll, like one of those yeast rolls, or I can use just a plain square piece of bread, like a sandwich bread, sit it down, put, open face, you know what that's all about. Put my shredded meat, my pot roast on there, add some pepper, and then the gravy and all of that. And then Wayne likes to get some of that zucchini relish and put it on the side, just a little dab on the side where he can kind of eat it. Like he'll take a little bit, put some meat on it and some of the potato, and that's what he likes. He likes that, but yes. But in terms of leftover pot roast, well, I'll take that. I'll take it out of the crock pot. I'll put it on a plate and I'll shred it up, everything. I'll take me a sandwich, piece of bread, put it on there, add a slice of sharp cheddar cheese or even just regular like Kraft singles, and then I'll put the top on it and I'll eat the hell out of that. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, that sounds good. Your quantum reality says, I love a good apricot jalapeno pork chop. Oh my God, I might have to look that up. Hi, Beach Bum. Well, I hope your meeting goes well. Again, y'all, I apologize that I didn't have Wayne or anybody here to help hold the camera. It was a simple recipe. I am going to get with y'all later on this evening. And again, Erin Patterson of Australia, she's on trial for her life. She's being accused of 3 murders and attempted murder. She had other attempted murder charges dropped against her. But they do things a little bit different. Look it up, Erin Patterson, Poisonous Mushrooms. And they have a podcast that's going to cover gavel to gavel. They can't show any cameras in the courtroom there, but this podcast, they're going to come out every single day on it. If you're interested, I know some of the Rays enjoyed KJ talking about beef Wellington that I successfully made with the help of Wayne, what was it, last year sometime? And many of you Rays know the first Saturday of May is what, y'all? It's KJ and Wayne's fish fry. We have it every year. Y'all know this. Well, KJ's going to get with you later on this week, and I'm going to re-up on teaching you my mother's recipe chicken and dumplings. It's so simple. It's cheap. It's delicious. I'm going to get with y'all, and I'm going to give that recipe out again. So I hope y'all enjoy it. Hey, the reason I'm doing this is because I grew up believing that a way to fellowship, to show care and love, and especially to try to be positive after all the crazy ass shit we've had to deal with and will continue to have to deal with, is to share food, to talk about recipes, to enjoy food. And that is a way that OKJ feels good. And I want to share that with all y'all because I feel good. I hope you feel good. I hope you'll try this recipe. Maybe not with prime rib, maybe with something else. But we'll get together tonight and I'm going to have Mr. Wayne do a taste test after I make the all just gravy for the prime rib. So Tanya, thank you for being here. Big's Tex, thank you. Food and Fellowship. Sugar Magnolia says, yum, I'm starving. I layer mashed potatoes spread on the bread and then meat topped with gravy. And there's nothing like a pot of beans to go with a roast and some good chow chow. Wow, that sounds like a plan to me. Oh, yes, definitely, Aunt Leanna. We'll get back together. Thank you, Just Me, for being here. Fancy Nancy for being here. Y'all, you never know what old KJ's going to get into, but I'll tell you one thing. If the Rays and I are cooking, we're cooking. And I love you all. I miss you all. I hope y'all have a great day. Leave your comments. I'll try to answer any questions you have. Again, that's a basic recipe on the About on the live stream. So you can go by that. But you can also tailor it to your own taste or maybe try what OKJ likes to eat. Just some unhealthy, salty-ass, buttery yum-yum, you know? I love you all. I love you, Lena, Jet Set J, Cook Goose, Shell Bell, Lena Howery, Cindy Bullock, again, Fancy Nancy, Just Me, Sugar Magnolia, Vix Tex, Tanya Levine, all of y'all. Sheldon, Savard, all of y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And I hope y'all have a great day. And you know what I always say, no matter what, cook and keep on looking.